It's not on the table though.
Yeah, no,
where could this watch be?
It's over here. This is, we couldn't not show the box that this piece comes in.
We see a lot of watch boxes. This is probably the nicest box we've seen. I think we have an incredible assortment here on the table. We have everything from, you know, kind of the bottom to the top.
I think you're right. And I think we know who chose the top and who chose the bottom here, buddy.
Just because I choose watches for the people doesn't mean there needs to be sass attached to it.
Okay. No, but really, you guys should check out our website. We have some ridiculous stuff that is either just hit the site or is hitting the site very soon. We're going to talk about a few of those pieces that we're really excited about tonight. Kicking things off, I think, with the Patek 5330G Tokyo edition.
Another one of those watches where like you see this stuff come out and you see it in catalogs, but you don't necessarily think we're gonna see one here.
Yeah.
Because, you know, stuff like this where it's like a domestic market for overseas, it doesn't always make it here to the States. So I was pretty pumped when I saw this thing land here because I love world times to begin with, and then a world time with a purple dial like this, come on.
Yeah, this one's killer. So this is, like I said, the 5330G Tokyo. So the 5330G debuted a couple of years ago, has that, like almost the denim strap and the real bright blue dial, which is gorgeous. I was going to say,
typically like that powder blue, right?
Right. And this debuted in 2023 at the Watch Art Grand Exhibition in Tokyo. So that was Pateks, I believe it was their sixth of the Grand Exhibitions. And if you guys aren't familiar with, you know, with Pateks their Grand Exhibition program, I guess, it's kind of like a traveling roadshow for Patek where they go to a different location every couple of years and they show off all the best stuff. You know, they have the rare handicrafts department, you know, puts on a big show. You know,
they'll have historical pieces.
Right.
And they always introduce a few models that are unique to the exhibition and are available only in that city for the time of that exhibition. And so this was one that they had released for that. And the 5330 is the world time with the addition of a date, which you can see around the outside there.
And so this was like we said, it was the Tokyo Grand Exhibition. So on that world disc, or the city disc, sorry, you can see Tokyo in red, and then also on the 24-hour disc there, in the photos, you know, just kind of to the left of the Tokyo text, you can see the rising sun, the red rising sun of the Japanese flag. So super interesting piece, you know, that really impressive purple guilloche in the center there. Like, it's on a purple strap with purple stitching. Like, I don't really understand the purple connection here, but
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's beautiful. Yeah.
I love it. I think it is fantastic. And I think it's such a cool watch because Patek has such a great history with the world time.
Yes.
That the fact that they do these world times, they did one for New York, they've done this one for Tokyo. They've done other ones that aren't as elaborate, right? Where they just change the name of the city. But I like having a unique color and then the unique little touches in honor of Japan. I think which is fantastic.
So limited edition of 300 pieces, like Rob said, only available in Japan actually. So really cool that we got to see one.
Yeah.
We listed this for sale, I think, on like Tuesday, and it's actually already pending sale, which is crazy. But yeah, I mean, just a really interesting world time in a very funky colorway that you don't normally see from Patek. So that's a really cool one.
Good choice.
Well, I'm glad you approve. Thank you.
I do. I approve of that one. So that is something modern from Patek that's very interesting. We actually got something old from Patek that I didn't know about this watch till we saw this. Anybody who's kind of been following like the Patek vintage scene recently, the Ellipse has had a little bit of a renaissance.
Yeah, totally.
Coming back.
Well, the one on the bracelet and everything that they came out with last
year.
year.
And there were so many variations of the Ellipse. And this is one I'd never seen before. This is a reference 3589 in white gold, and this is the Grand Ellipse. And I've never seen one before with this kind of bezel like this. It has this incredible little step up to the crystal here. The dial is blue with, instead of applied markers, they're actually like recessed.
So I was going to say,
into the dial.
I've seen this case shape before, this Grand Ellipse with that just like big bezel essentially. I've never seen this dial with the engraved numerals.
It's so wild. They're like dipped in and then filled in silver.
Well, when I first looked at it, I thought that the dial was damaged or something. And then I looked closer and I was like, oh, wow, that's amazing. They're actually engraved. And you still get that same like crazy sunburst of the blue and everything.
And you'll notice that it is incredibly thin. And I knew as soon as I wound it that this is the same caliber that's in the original Patek Philippe Nautilus.
It's so funny. We were both at our desks, and you said that, and I was like, "Oh, it's super clicky, right?" And then you did that, and it really is.
Yeah, and it's the same automatic caliber that you find in the original Nautilus and in the original AP Royal Oak. And to me, this is just one of those watches where it's like, this is so 70s.
Yeah, totally.
Right, in its design and everything like that. And I think, this is the stuff that people are overlooking right now.
Yeah.
And I think, like, man, that is stellar.
I mean, there's something...
That is so good.
Every time we get an ellipse, whether it's a vintage one or a modern piece, we all kind of gush over it.
Yeah.
And it's just so... If I was given the choice between that and a Calatrava, I'm taking the ellipse, like, literally every single time. It's just such a funky, interesting, distinctive design.
Yeah.
And there's so many, like you were saying, there's so much variation. There's so many different, eras of the watch.
Right.
And so many
you get the
different metals and
TV
everything.
case ones. You get the traditional ones. You get some with lugs, which personally I don't think
doesn't work
holds
for me.
up as well.
No,
well,
I agree.
Because the whole thing of it is that golden ellipse, and as soon as you take away that line, it doesn't work anymore. And so this with basically the hidden lugs, where it's just this little connection in the center there and a bar that goes through to connect the strap. That's what makes this watch what it is.
Is that one live on our site right now, Rob?
No.
No, not yet?
This is, the photo should be up soon and then we'll get it live. So this is a real sneak peek because this one is coming soon, but I'm smitten. I think it's incredible.
Nice. Yeah, keep an eye out for that one because that's such a little hidden gem that, especially bang for buck too, like just a simple time only vintage Patek.
It's not your standard ellipse case. Like it's a beautiful case.
I've seen that case before. I've never seen this specific configuration with white gold case, engraved blue dial, like killer.
And great size because this was the big one. This was the grand ellipse, automatic movement and everything. Yeah, incredible.
Cool. All right, moving right along. Next up, for another sneak peek, we're gonna swing wildly back in the other direction again because I chose this one. Yeah. If you might be able to see it in the front of the tray right here.
I was gonna say, could it be the 8 pounds of gold that is?
This right here might be the best datograph of all time. So, Rob, go ahead and show that guy off. So this is the reference 403.031. Lange Datograph, commonly known as the Dufour Dato or the Dufourgraph. So classic, Dato, 39 millimeter case, but rose gold black dial. And this one, as you can clearly see, happens to be on a full rose gold Wellendorff bracelet as well, so the Dufourgraph in general is rare. They made it for roughly 2 years. I think it was like 03 to 05. So very short production run. And it's called the Dufour Dato because Philippe Dufour famously owns one in this configuration, not the bracelet, but he owns one, rose gold, pink gold with a black dial. And he has publicly stated that he thinks that this is the greatest chronograph ever made. So yeah, just special watch. Okay. So we were just told that the Patek Tokyo 5330 needs to be shipped out immediately. So we're gonna pass that off to the team and continue talking about the Dufour Dato. Thank you, Emerson. So anyways, back to the Dufour Dato. So most of these were obviously delivered on the strap, but it was an option after purchase.
A extremely expensive option.
Yes. to order a Wellendorff bracelet for the watch. So the original owner of this piece bought it and then chose to order the Wellendorff bracelet, which, like Robert said, was a massive upgrade.
And there's a couple different styles of these bracelets. Like you'll see some with the straight end links. You'll see some like this one with the integrated end links. And then you see different link styles as well. This to me is probably the nicest link style in my opinion, where it has, you know, just enough. It's like there's one that gets crazy zigzagged on the perpetual.
Yeah, we were just talking about that one.
It's almost like Odysseus-esque, which is cool because it's very unique. But to me, this is like, it's in that line of like where it's still very interesting, but it's not so over the top that you're like, whoa, that bracelet.
Well, so I was going to say, the one on the perpetual, it's got so much going on that it overpowers the watch itself, where this beautifully complements the watch. Like
so
this
good.
one, when it came in, like I'm a huge Datograph fan to begin with, and I lost my mind when this came in. The cool thing too, so like Wellendorff bracelets, they're all stamped with the Wellendorff hallmark on the clasp, which is super cool. But again, crazy rare. Watch itself only in production for 2 years. Bracelet was a massive, massive upcharge, and very few people, took Lange up on that. So this one's killer. This one also has a full original set with box, papers, and the original hang tag. So this is coming soon.
And we're seeing a huge the demand for these old school Lange bracelets is suddenly like everybody's looking for them.
Yeah.
None of them are out there because there weren't that many to begin with, but it's become one of those things where like the real Lange guys out there are all looking for these old
Well, again,
school
like think
bracelets.
about it. It's been years since Wellendorff has produced these bracelets for Lange, and at the time, Lange still is a very small production company. At the time, when they were doing this in the earlier in the 2000s, they were an even smaller company producing fewer pieces. So again, for a very expensive option on a watch that there weren't many of to begin with, like it's just rare. There just aren't many of them out there.
And they're beautiful. They're so well made.
Stunningly gorgeous.
Yeah,
I would.
It really enhances that.
Yeah,
watch.
I would do terrible things to have that watch. So.
All right. So. From that to the complete other end of the spectrum again.
I love it.
If I hold this watch this way, you won't even know it's there. There was a time in watchmaking where ultra thin became the pinnacle to which all watchmakers were striving. And to me, that is a very cool thing because it's one of those things where it's not going to knock your socks off like this Datograph on the bracelet. It's not like a full skeleton dial. It's not crazy complicated. It's about creating the most elegant and refined execution you possibly can. And this is a great modern example of that with the VC Historiques 1955. So this is as simple as it gets, not even a seconds hand, time and date, but
ridiculously
it is
thin.
A wafer.
Yeah.
This is a Ritz cracker for the wrist.
This actually
but you
might
still
be
get a display back.
A similar thickness to a Ritz cracker.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not kidding here, but you still get a display back, which is really cool. You get beautiful proportions. Every time we get this watch in, I am amazed that they can manufacture this and that it runs and that it works well. And what a hard thing to do. When you're dealing with things that are on a small scale already to begin with, and then you're making them even smaller and even finer. And to me, this is like the gentleman's wristwatch.
Yeah,
right?
It's really interesting because this is kind of more than the sum of its parts, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Looking at that dial and the super minimalist indices and handset, and I don't know, normally that's not something that I'm drawn to, really incredible simplicity and just very understated to the max. But that paired with that subtly kind of flared lug of the case, the thickness, the beautiful wind on that manual wind movement, the way that it sits on the wrist, it's really elegant.
The crown is thicker than the case. The crown sticks out ever so slightly on the top and the bottom of the case.
Yeah.
That's how thin this watch is.
That is
and
ridiculous.
It's not a big crown.
It's tiny.
It's not a big crown.
Yeah.
And to me, that's just, there's something about that where you've said, okay, you can have all the complicated stuff. You can have the stuff that's like super showy and super incredible, and that's cool. But then there's also this, where it is the simplest, purest expression of a watch, but showing the absolute prowess of fine watchmaking, because this is not, Vacheron has a lot of watches where, it's it's a great watch and it's a Jaeger movement in it and it's going to run great and everything's wonderful. But this to me is like another level from that, where it's like, this is really elegance and finesse from start to finish. And like, if you're a guy who wears a jacket every day or a jacket and tie every day, this to me is a killer daily watch.
Everyday dress watch. And price-wise too, it's reasonable for...
Well, unfortunately, it's already sold.
Another one? Oh my God.
This one is also...
We're moving stuff fast,
pending.
friends.
I think this sold today. So these don't come up.
Yeah.
We see maybe one every couple years or something like that. This, and there's the Jaeger 1907.
Yeah, I think we see even fewer of the Jaeger 1907 than we do of this.
They don't come up, and I would love to own one of these watches one day, because I think, to me, there's something about the purity of that I just really love.
It's like distinctively Vacheron too, which is interesting. Again, for a watch that is so...
It's old school Vacheron.
But that's what I mean.
Right? Like to call that the 1955 and to do it in the Historiques collection, I think was so fitting.
Nice. Yeah. All right, well, that's one that I will agree with you on, Rob. Good pick.
There we go. There we go.
All right, once again.
The pendulum swingeth againeth.
We need like a dramatic sound effect or something. All right, well... You probably saw this one hit our site if you've been watching. This is one of my all-time favorite Pateks. Like, come on.
Yep.
What's better?
Yep.
You know, so Patek 5004 in platinum, Robert. So obviously iconic Patek Grand Comp, split-second perpetual. This one in platinum with that gorgeous silver dial. This screams classic Patek to me. Again, you know, it's the perfect size. It's what, 36 and a half, 37.
Yep.
It's a little on the chunky side, but that's fine because it's, you know, it's still very compact. It's 15 mil thick. Look at that movement. It's crazy. I love this watch so much. So you get, you know, a manual one, column wheel, chronograph movement in there, split seconds.
Double column wheel, actually.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
With the split second in there, they need to up gear that. So I think there's actually two.
This is like, you know how we've talked about the Le Mans Daytona before, how Rolex basically took like all the best characteristics of Daytonas over the years and combined them into the Le Mans. That's kind of how I feel about this watch.
It's really not that thick.
It's not. No, it's not.
The proportions of it are a little interesting because it is like kind of, since it's not super broad, you know, it's a small diameter, so it doesn't distribute the thickness the way a modern watch does. But if you like this era and you like 3970s and things like that, you know, even, what's the repeater? Is that the 3974 or something like that?
3974, you're right, yep.
If you like those style of watches in that era of Patek, this fits right in there.
This is, we've talked about it a million times, but this is the sweet spot in, I think, both of our opinions for the golden era of Patek. But again, like, I feel like they took kind of all of the best design elements from previous iterations, generations of this particular Grand Comp, you know, and kind of put them all together. So you have those Arabics, you know, the handset, like everything about it. It just every time I see one of these, I am absolutely like swept off my feet. They're also insanely rare, you know. So Patek made the 5004 from '94 to 2012, and you know. There are not, you know, official numbers on how many were made, but it was a very small amount every year. Yeah. So, yeah, just killer. The only thing so we also have a few other, you may have seen a 5004J that on our Instagram today that is an absolute monster of a piece. The only thing that could be better is apparently, which I didn't even know, Patek made a run of 50 5004s in steel to commemorate the end of the production run in 2012. Could you imagine?
So there's 50 of them hanging around. I've heard of them before. I didn't know how many they made.
Nuts.
But that is crazy. Yeah, it's a legend. It's an absolute legend. And I think, like, to talk the market for a second, I think when you think about the lineage of Patek, and you think about, obviously the split is another beast, but the perpetual calendar chrono is Patek's signature move. It is, you know, the thing that has defined them all the way from the 1518 all the way up through the current models. And I think, you know, 1518 and 2499 are now
unobtainable. We're going to actually talk about...
They're not mortal watches.
No, we're going to talk about 2499 later.
It's a different league and class of watch now. And I think that is why we are seeing renewed interest in the 5004 because this is still somewhat approachable in terms of like if you're at that level of collector.
Sure.
This is still this isn't $1 million yet.
Not yet. I think we're listed.
I think it's on the way.
Yeah.
It's on the way.
It's up there.
And to get an example like this in platinum is incredible because I can count on one hand the number of platinum 5004s that have come through this store.
Exactly.
You know, even yellow gold we haven't seen that many.
No.
So,
I mean, again, they made it for 18 years, but it's very, very, very small production across all metals per year. So very rare, very special, iconic Patek reference. I was so psyched to see that one come into the store.
It's a monster.
How are you gonna follow that up, Rob? What do you got next, buddy?
So technically, you did the order here.
I did,
and you probably did this on purpose, but that's fine.
I may have sandbagged him a little bit.
We're gonna lightning round through some of these because I definitely want to hit this one. If we don't hit that, I'm okay. Okay. So I wanted to put a Panerai on the show because I dearly love Panerai, and I had not seen this one in the metal before. And to me, this is everything that's good about Panerai. This is the PAM 911, and this was the last, or the final for Panaristi, or the last for Panaristi, because Bonatti was very involved in the Panerai community out there when he was running the brand, and he often made special editions for the members of the Panaristi Forum. And so this was the final one that they did, and I think with Bonatti's departure now, they will not be doing anything
he didn't just
else
depart,
like that.
He passed away.
I was trying to be, tactful.
Okay.
So this one is basically your standard Luminor Marina with the small seconds. It's a sandwich dial. It's in this beautiful olive green, and it has these rose gold hands. They only made, I think it was 300 of these, so it's not a super common piece to find, but these big, bold base dials in the standard Luminor case like this. And this has the 8-day movement in it, which I think is really nice as well. So it's a watch that it's the first one we've seen. It very well could be the only one that we've seen. Last one for Panerai.
That's funny.
Is what he says. And it's just, I think it's super cool.
Nice.
I love it. I'd wear it. It looks nice.
Have you found a Panerai that you wouldn't wear?
Yeah. No.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
Whoa. Breaking news. Breaking news. Robert has a Panerai he doesn't like.
That 50 millimeter
I don't care.
Mare Nostrum. That's a fridge too far. I can't do that one.
All right. One more.
It's not on the table though.
Yeah, no.
Where could this watch be?
It's over here. This is we couldn't not show the box that this piece comes in.
We see a lot of watch boxes.
This one's pretty sweet.
This is probably the nicest box we've seen. And obviously, you all know what this is now.
Yeah. So, honestly, if you've been paying attention to the watch world, you kind of know that LVMH and Louis Vuitton has kind of been bringing the heat for the past couple of years. They've obviously, they own the Daniel Roth brand. They've done a lot with the Vuitton brand as well. This is the new Tambour.
I've been dying to see one of these in the metal. And I'm so happy we finally got one in because a lot of the integrated bracelet pieces that come out feel very derivative of
100%.
one sort or another. Mm-hmm. And to me, this is one that actually feels like it stands on its own and has its own kind of cool vibe, and it's not crazy expensive.
I was going to say, this is very interesting, distinctive design. On the price part, I think retail is $25, and I think we have it listed for $15 or something, 17 maybe.
This is not my segment, right? I am not the integrated bracelet sport watch guy.
Actually,
you are.
I am.
This is I own one watch on a bracelet, right? This is not my thing. I would buy this watch. I never in a million years would have said I would buy a watch from Louis Vuitton.
Well, so I was going to say the same thing.
Watch.
I can't believe that we're both saying this and enthusiastically saying it. Yeah. And this is, last year they came out with, LVMH Watch Week in the fall last year, they came out with all these crazy variants of the Tambour with the rotating hour indices and the world time and all this crazy stuff.
The one, I can't remember what it's called, but the one with the windows that's basically like a Tanka Guichet.
That one as well.
That one's in the gold case.
They made a whole bunch of really very, very high-end, complicated ones, and then they made this one that is really just the run-of-the-mill standard steel blue dial, very straightforward, kind of base, lower end of the model line, but it's actually really, really good. And what is very funny,
the bracelet's really good.
What's very funny is in photos that we were just showing, you don't get the full you don't see how dynamic that dial is, but right now you can really see the different, just like, I think it's just even just the different like striping essentially on the dial that really makes it feel so alive, and it's not this flat blue dial that it kind of looks like in photos.
Yeah.
You get a great, automatic micro rotor movement with 50 hours of power reserve.
Yeah.
Like it's great. It's great. It's so weird.
Bravo, LV.
I know. So like very cool.
Yeah.
If you haven't checked out what Louis Vuitton and LVMH is doing, like take another look because it's very, very interesting
Super
stuff. All right. We already went way over on that.
Yeah.
We're going to do, so before we get to the talking about the Philips auction.